Cherry is the brand new Apple TV Plus original film that debuted in theaters 2 weeks prior in February, but debuted this past Friday on March. The film is directed by the Russo brothers and stars Tom Holland and Sierra Bravo and Jack Reiner. Basically tells sort of a guy who is a freshman in college who falls in love with Sierra Bravo, joins the United States Army for 2 years, and once he comes back from the military, he has PTSD and begins to go down to become a drug addict, and he begins to rob banks. The film is 2 hours and 20 minutes long and is rated R. Welcome, guys, to a brand new review. We've been off for a week, but I'm back with a new review here on Max Talks. Please like the video if you're enjoying this review. Also, let me know in the comment section, have you seen this film already? Tell me if you saw it in theaters or on Apple TV Plus, or if you have not seen the film so far. Let me know. Will you check this one out this coming week on Apple TV Plus? Also, please subscribe and ring the bell. Trying to get to 100 subscribers here on this YouTube channel. Once again, before I do start this review, I want to say I'm sorry for this delay of a review. I've been going through a lot with my personal work and school. I've had a lot to do, and my computer had an issue, so I'm getting that fixed this week. It should be ready this upcoming week as well. So this will be one of the rare times you'll see this type of background on my screen. But again, it's just due to a lot of things going on. But this movie I had pretty high expectations for, even though the critics have been pretty split down the middle with this film. Even though it does have a rotten review, a lot of the critics who I trust, half of them really liked the movie and dug it, and half of the people really did not like the movie. So normally for me, I normally fall on the positive side or in the middle. I normally don't fall on the bad side. And for example, like Malcolm and Marie, that was a very divisive film, even though it has better reviews than Cherry. And I love that film, but I heard a lot of people just did not like that movie, which is all cool. So this film also adds to the conversation of controversy with all the people, a lot of people liking it, a lot of people not liking it. How do I stand? And I start with the positive with the film. And the main positive with this film is Tom Holland, who is really good in this movie and delivers his best performance of his career. Now, I really have enjoyed Tom Holland as an actor so much. Obviously, he's my favorite iteration of the Peter Parker Spider-Man character. Even though Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man film I thought was the best, I do think his iteration of the character is the best we've gotten so far in film. And then he also did some voice work in Spies in Disguise and Onward. Both films, Spies in Disguise, I had some fun with. I loved Onward. And then Devil All the Time, which I think is a very underrated film from last year from Netflix, a film that I did think was very solid. Didn't think it was great, but he was also very good in that film. So it's nice seeing him branch out of the MCU. And he is by far the best part of this film, and really one of the only main positives that I can say with the film. He does a great job emoting what he's going through. He can play that awkward college student in the opening 40 minutes of the film. Then he can become a military person, and then he becomes a drug addict, and you can kind of feel him losing who he is throughout the film, and that is because Tom Holland is very good in the movie. And only if the script could help him out more, which I'll get to my negatives, but he really does give it all. And at times when the movie isn't engaging and when the movie isn't watchable, he makes it watchable because he has so much charisma. He has great chemistry with Sierra Bravo, who I'm about to get to as well in my positives. Their chemistry, even though they don't get enough time to develop their romance, their actual relationship, the chemistry between Bravo and Holland is on point, and it keeps the movie again interesting because the two actors are giving it their all. And you can tell Tom especially really is giving it his all for this performance. As I said earlier, Sierra Bravo is also very good in the film as his wife, a character who I thought needed a lot more fleshing out. She makes very quick and major decisions out of nowhere that I wish were more explained. And also the film, I forgot to mention, it's also a book called Cherry, based on the semi-autobiographical life of Nico Walker, who is the character played by Holland. So this life is basically a true story type of film, and Holland does convey all different sets of his life very, very well. Certainly, he is not the issue with the film. But I'm very sorry to say that this film absolutely did not work for me. And I am so saddened to say this. Normally, in films that are normally split down the middle with half being great, half being terrible, I am normally on the positive side, or even if I'm not on the positive side, I'm normally on in the middle, thinking it's an average film. And this is one of the rare instances for me that I really did not like this film, and it's a really shame because of this amazing performance that is wasted in a film that does not have a good script whatsoever and terrible direction from two directors who, again, the Russo brothers, if you don't know, directed Captain America: The Winter Soldier, Captain America: Civil War, and then Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame. In my opinion, four top tier Marvel Cinematic Universe films. Honestly, the four best films we've gotten possibly in the entire MCU were directed all by the Russo brothers. And I've seen their stuff so far outside of the MCU. Since Endgame, they produced, the Russo brothers produced 21 Bridges, which is a film I thought was just fine, with Chadwick Boseman. They also, the Russos produced and wrote Extraction, which I thought was a very fun film, even though the writing was not that great for that film. So this is their first their directorial movie following Avengers Endgame. And it's weird that this is the project that they chose because the script is not very good. And the script is, and also the movie's kind of broken up into a lot of things. There's kind of like 5 breaks. We go part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5 throughout the film. We'll get a 30-minute thing of the intro of the movie. Then it says that now we're moving into part 2. And it kind of pulls you out of the movie each time they kept saying that we're in a different part of his life. The movie itself kind of feels like a book sometimes, not a movie, because there's so much unnecessary narration. There's so much part this, part this. It seems like we're just highlighting through this guy's life instead of really diving into it. And again, also the direction is pretty terrible in this film. And it's really sad to say because, again, I'm not going to stop supporting the Russo brothers from their Marvel Cinematic Universe films, but their direction is so in your face, so flashy. And it was like they read the script, knew it wasn't good, so wanted to put an extra something into their direction. And at times the direction is a distraction from the film. There's some weird, oddball choices made from shots, and some shots do look great. And I'll say this, go back to my positive as well. My favorite part of the film is part 2, which is when Tom Holland goes to the military. That's when I think the film knows what it is, does its best job at tackling this character. And even then, there's some really questionable shots. And some people are comparing this to kind of like a student film. Now, I don't want to go so far and say it's a student film, but it feels like a film that the Russo brothers, this is their directorial debut. This is a film that you can kind of see, this is their first film. This is what it kind of felt like. Not that they've made 4 amazing superhero films before this. It seems like they were so hot, and then they're taking a huge step back with this film because this is a poorly directed film with a terrible script that does not help these great performances in the film by these 2 lead actors, really Tom Holland. As I said, the movie has a lot. I mean, a lot of narration. I do sometimes complain about narration in films when it's not necessary or it doesn't add anything to the story. That's when the narration can get a bit ridiculous. When if narration's just there to tell exposition or tell information that they don't want to show us for some particular reason, then I don't like narration. Narration elevates the story in a certain way, then narration can work. I even complained about this in To All the Boys 3. And now I'm talking about it, and I thought To All the Boys 3 had a lot of narration. This movie has a lot of narration, and also Tom Holland's character, out of nowhere, on like 3 or 4 occasions, or 4 or 5 occasions, breaks the 4th wall in scenes, and nothing gets explained why, and he doesn't do that the rest of the movie. It was oddball directorial choices and script choices that really pulled me out of the film. Sometimes I was really into a scene in a robbery, but instead of actually, I understand what this character's feeling inside his head. I don't need it told to me. Instead of just watching this robbery happen and understanding how this character is feeling, Tom Holland has to tell us how he's feeling by breaking the 4th wall on multiple occasions. And it just pulled me right out of the scene. There's also just so many unnecessary narrations. It felt like the movie had such a dull script that they didn't even want to show us how he was feeling, even though we could kind of understand how he was feeling. We had to have Tom Holland explain that he wanted to bang girls when he was in college. We had to understand like all this type of stuff, and it just did not work. We had one piece of narration where we've known this friend. He has a friend in the movie who helps him out on some of the robberies. And we've known him for an hour in the movie, an hour and a half in the film. He's like, I have to call my friend because he used to work for a locksmith to help me with this lock. And why is that narrated to us? Like, why? There are some parts where it just pulls you out of the movie, some shots that are just not that good. And this film feels like it wants to give you messages about the military, because the way that that's why I really like the military aspect of the film, because it does give you an interesting point of view on the military. Some people are going to be offended by the way they handle the military, but this is not the way they handle the military. This is the point of view of this character and how he believes the military worked for him. That could be offensive to people. It wasn't to me because it was a very different and interesting perspective, but they don't really add anything to the fact that this people from the military just don't get treated well when they come back, but they never hit home the fact that there's any messaging in the film. This person goes so far deep into drugs and alcohol and PTSD that they don't even give you a chance to understand what the main message of the film was, if they're even trying to give you a message, which they should have been doing, because this is a very interesting military point of view that needed to be expanded on in the second half of the film. Now, the first 40 minutes of the film, I was pretty much in. I wasn't like excited. I was like, this is fine. It's not terrible. But I really did like the second part of the second part, I guess, which is so weird to say like this. But the second half of the film is not that good. And the film is 2.5 hours. And it is a long 2.5 hours. The film feels like it just keeps going on, especially in the second half. Once he comes back from the military, the movie slows down, doesn't have any emotion. Characters are added into the movie that feel like they're in different movies, like Jack Reiner's character. His character feels like he's in a different movie. There's a character named Black, who is also, his character is so unnecessary and also pulls me out of the movie. He's in a different movie. So this movie is so painful because this movie could have been great. It has a great lead actor who people are saying is miscast in this movie, or people just see too much Peter Parker. I did not get that. I think this is a truly great performance and I believe Tom Holland is an A-list actor who I can't wait to see in his future, but he's going to have to start choosing better scripts like this, because I know the Russo brothers directed and he wants to continue that relationship, but this is not a good film. And this for me so far this year has been the most disappointing film of the year. I was really excited to see this film. I thought it'd be on the positive side of this controversy, but I'm sorry, I am on the negative side. So overall, guys, I'm going to give Cherry, the best I can do, guys, is a 2 out of 5, a 36%. I might go down. The more I think about this movie, the more I am dropping it on this list. I have to keep rethinking my ranking, but for this review, it'll be a 36%. That's as low as I can get for now. Before you guys, do you actually disagree with me? It's a controversial film. A lot of people have so many different opinions. If you've seen Cherry, do you actually like this film? Did you dig some of the choices they made towards the end of the film as well? Also, or do you agree with me? If you have not seen the film, really check this one out this weekend. Again, I want you guys, I'm not recommending this film. This is just my opinion. It's a controversial film, but meaning that a lot of people have different opinions. Sometimes this movie will work for people and some it won't. So this is just my point of view. It was not my cup of tea. Subscribe, ring the bell. Some more reviews coming down the line. Snyder Cut, Falcon and Winter Soldier reviews are coming later this week. Once again, I'm sorry, guys, for such a delay on these reviews. It's been a busy week. So thank you guys so much for joining me, sticking with me here on Max Talks Movies. I'll see you guys in the next one.